everyone. Welcome back to the Off Court Podcast, episode 16.
Oh, yeah.
The paddle podcast covering all your paddle needs. As you already know, we are your hosts. This is Connor. I'm Hugh. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in, whether it's on YouTube, Spotify, or any other platform. We appreciate you being here.
Welcome back.
Today, we are diving into the Asuncion P2.
Exactly.
The tournament of upsets and underdogs, I like to call it, because it was a pretty crazy one, wasn't it?
Just by the quarters, everyone was like, what the fuck is going on? Kind of like, and a lot of surprises, actually.
Unexpected results. It really was a crazy P2. We're going to get into all of that. There's quite a bit to cover. But before we do that, I think we need to comment on or officially announce our...
Oh, yes.
What do you want to call it?
Rebrand.
A rebrand?
It's a ground shifting take on marketing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But we thought we'd give ourselves a fresh coat of paint.
We're working with Apple marketing executives.
Yeah. It's revolutionary, I think.
Yeah.
But I thought we'd just get something that's a little bit more representative. We're 5 months in now to starting this podcast. At the beginning, we didn't really know who we were or what we were or where we, wanted to look like.
Yeah,
basically.
what off court is, what it represents, what the vibe is of the podcast.
You might have seen, if you follow us on Instagram or, you watch the intro of our video, we've got some sort of new treats, for the episode basically. So hopefully you guys enjoy them as much as we do. It's a little more playful, a little bit more fun. And that's really it at the end of the day.
Do let us know what you think.
Oh yeah, and if we should rename our little logo, it's a very nameable character potentially. So if that's something that you guys have in mind,
exactly,
we'll let it come naturally. We won't force it.
But we're open to suggestions if you've got some cool little cute names for our little new logo.
We have no idea what to call it. But
if you haven't seen it yet, check it out. It's going to be on this episode everywhere.
Exactly.
So yeah, all right. Before we get into it, let's do our little catch-up, our little icebreaker.
We love it.
How's it going, Connor? How's the paddle world for you?
Paddle world's going great. Just started my new partnership with my new doubles partner, Dan. What's up, Dan? Don't think Dan listens, but he's all good, man. Yeah, he's great, man. He's coming from a tennis background. Picked up paddle really fast. We played casually a bunch of times. Yeah, he's great. He's tall as well, which helps. You know, I've got a little bit of short king status a little bit, but it's nice. He plays on the left, I'm on the right. We've slotted right in. We played our third game at the end of last week. We lost the first set, but we drew in the second set. And yeah, it felt like there's some good vibes there. Super happy to build on it. And yeah, we're just trying to play as much as possible. Really.
Yeah, but I know you like the sort of having you're like Galán, you want to build on a project long term.
Yeah, literally I prefer it, man. I mean, I think that's maybe I mean, maybe there's some psychos out there that like
I mean, I don't
people.
mind too much, to be honest. I like playing with different styles and kind of people.
Your Playtomic ranking's a little bit higher than mine, so I get caught in a minefield maybe sometimes if I play with randos a lot. Not saying that I'm the best, but yeah, it does suck when it's I've just been playing for 3 times now. And I'm like, fuck me, man. All right, let's go. Let's do this. Or that one time was very sweet. I think I mentioned it, but a guy was very old.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, this is going to be a little bit more wholesome of a game. But yeah, all good vibes. How about you?
Yeah, good. I mean, last time I played, I told you, it was a bit upsetting. I don't know if you guys have ever had this, but it was a competitive game. It was going to be competitive, but then...
I can hear the Mbappe competitive clip. Do you know that? Sometimes in the live, I like to be competitive. I love that shit. We'll play it here. Sorry, you carry on.
Me and the partner who I've played with a few times, we were in the team sort of on the app and we booked that way. And then when we got there, the other guy was like, oh, should we swap teams around? Because you guys are well, and it was just I was like, yeah, sure, whatever you want. But it's just it's a bit...
You don't want to be the try hard. At the same time,
who you're playing with from how you book and the teams that are set up in the app. So it's just kind of if getting there and being like, oh, by the way, should we swap? It's just a bit whatever. But to be honest, it actually.
Why? What was the scoreline? Why did they even suggest that?
Because technically they were quite lower level than we were.
Oh,
so
okay.
we were on the high end of the spectrum, of the range of the match.
You guys
they were. and they were on the lower side of it. So
I see. Okay. So what, after you guys took the first 2 sets?
Well, no, the thing is we got there and then we did swap pairs, and then we were just like, okay, then let's just make it a friendly, which was kind of like, okay, fine, whatever. Kind of wanted to play competitive, but fair enough. So we made it a friendly, and we swapped pairs, and me and the other guy, it was like 6-0, 6-0.
Okay.
Even after swapping pairs. So I was technically playing with one of the weaker players, but he was actually very good.
Pretty solid.
And then the guy who I was supposed to play with originally competitively on my team, he had like a really bad elbow injury like halfway through the game, so he could barely play. But it's like a very low intense, not great game, to be honest.
Paddle thirst after
but it's good.
that.
And I played on the left for a bit, which was kind of nice, which I don't usually play, but I did just for fun because it was a friendly. And I really enjoyed it, actually. It was good.
Lots more running. Lots more space.
Yeah, but it's I like the overhead. How you've got like, it's crazy when you get an overhead from if you're right-handed and you're on the backhand side.
Yeah,
it just opens up the court a lot more. You have a lot more possibilities to direct your overheads.
On the right-hand side, if you do get an overhead, it can feel more awkward.
It's usually nearly always diagonally, right?
Yeah,
but
exactly.
if you get like a lob in the middle, kind of, and you're playing on the backhand, and you're going to take that lob, not your partner, right? Because you've got the advantage there. Then you've got like the court sort of opens up, and you can, if you're in the middle, you can either play both sides, kind of thing.
I see.
Know what I mean?
I do. Now you said that, I do put like 99%
I mean, usually
of my
even
overheads.
regardless, unless the lob is like very off, it's always going to be cross court.
Yeah.
Usually, like the
It's
most
the safest.
Yeah.
You could do as well.
Exactly. But yeah,
There we go.
I mean,
Grinding it out. We're still here.
Yeah.
On episode 16, crazy tournament.
Let's get into it.
Oh my gosh, dude. Well, first of all, I think one of our main headlines, we're going to run through some top sort of hot talking points from this tournament, and then we'll just jump into the men's and women's final, basically. But really, we have to take our hats off for Gemma Triay reaching the rank number 1 in Premier Padel.
Our favorite.
Exactly.
Both
she
of
is.
our favorites.
She is.
Yeah.
And she's just phenomenal. She was playing with Claudia Fernández last year. Now she's with Delphi, and, not even halfway through the season, she's dethroned. I don't know why I did that. She's actually dethroned.
Yeah. Not the best tournament for her, this one, but the entire season so far has been very good for the number 2s.
You just knew when she left Claudia and played with Delphi, like that was one of her main goals, right? Is just to reach number 1, which is her 3rd time now being number 1. She's been around the block a little bit, but gosh, she's an absolute powerhouse, and super happy for her. Saying that, Ari Sanchez, Paula Jose Maria aren't that far behind.
They're
so
like
now,
100 points away.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a chase.
Which is great, though.
I think so,
That's like, as a fan, I think, for us, all of us, it's actually great because, that now it's the race. It's like quarters or semis could determine ups or downs and shifts in the ranking.
I know it was her first time, claiming that throne this tournament. But yeah, I wonder if it's going to be like every tournament now. It's like, Ari Sanchez is now ranked number 1. And then the tournament after that, it's for Gemma Triay.
And
again.
we've got the Argentina P1 coming up now, which is already happening.
I just know that crowd's going to be insane.
Yeah. I think, is it Mar del Plata? I think it is.
Yeah, it is.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that crowd turnout is crazy.
Yeah, it's like one of the homes of paddle, I'd say.
Yeah.
But it's going to be fantastic.
And then right after that, we've got the Italy Major. So a lot of points on the line for the next couple weeks.
Question is if Delphi can get up there as well, and both of them can secure that. There's a bit of a points gap.
Yeah. But I mean, if she's riding with Gemma and she's on the high now, it could be.
Yeah. Wasn't the best tournament for her either this.
No.
But it's okay. There's always some ups and downs with it, and they're not the only players on the court or the circuit that having a hard time.
Yeah.
We also Lebron, which we'll
touch
talk
on
about
as well,
having a mental breakdown on the court, which is brilliant. But also, I think we have to take our hats off to Diestro and Esbri. If you guys haven't heard of them before, now you must have.
Yeah.
What
are they? 30? I think they're pair
32 and 30 something. 33.
So they're
something like that.
Pairing. It's probably like pairing. I think they're 16th. Yeah, actually 16th.
We'll double check that.
They are.
And
when they got into the tournament, they were seeded 16th in the tournament.
Do you want to tell us their road to semis?
Yeah,
and who they
I mean, dude,
out?
it was crazy. They were on the, let's say, because we'll touch up on this now as well.
Yeah,
they were on the more difficult side of the draw. Let's say, you know,
it's a little bit more competition.
Yeah, so they round of 32, they already took out Livac Garrido, which is 3 sets.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, it's already a very difficult game because technically Livac Garrido should have won. But they battled it out to 3 sets.
Can we just say something on Garrido and Livac?
Yeah.
Now, this is their 3rd or 2nd tournament playing together.
2nd.
Not feeling good, man. I'll be honest. I saw Livac's face walking off that court, dude, and he just looked like he was traumatized, man. He was like, "What the hell just happened, man?" Good. Playing with Tello at the beginning of the year, and now
they also they got knocked out. I don't know if in the last
round 32,
round 32
sure, or 16, well, which is of those. It's crazy, man.
Terrible.
I wonder what the vibes are like really between them, because like it's not exactly.
It might just be a chemistry thing. Again, it might just be like you know.
Yeah, I mean, Garrido's also had a number of partners. He shifted quite a lot of a few times, and you know, I don't know. He's great, but I don't know if he's the one for Livac. So
I don't think so.
Maybe he'll get called up, but yeah. Anyway. They also took out Paquito Bergamini.
Round of 16, Paquito Verga.
Yeah.
6-4, 7-6. Only took him 2 sets, which is
man.
Yeah.
They're taking all the big dogs out.
Big dogs.
They're leaving.
Both of these pairings are they should have lost against these guys.
Yeah.
And then we've got
let's not forget
the quarterfinals.
they beat Coello and Tapia.
They beat Coello and Tapia 3 sets as well.
Right.
6-3, 2-6, 7-6.
Yeah.
And I think maybe we should talk about this game maybe a little bit more because we can't cover all of them, but just to like kind of see where Diestro Esbrí lie and why they had such a good tournament. I think just straight up, I think they just had a good tournament, full stop.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think there's anything.
They didn't crack a code.
They didn't like do anything tactically or strategically that was working.
It was a culmination of all the right things, and they just happened to take every opportunity.
And that happens sometimes. You know, some pairings or players, in this case, both of them were on fire for this specific P2.
Yeah.
And, you know, hats off to them.
The adrenaline must have been pumping through them, though, you know, not even after.
I mean, knocking out, you know,
these
one
huge
after
names,
the other.
Man. And then Coello Tapia, which I was saying to you, I loved every time they cut to Diestro and Esbri's coach. He was just like sitting there sweating
bullets.
There
like this, like
yeah.
He has to keep it in, but he's like, oh shit,
like some
okay,
high
well,
stakes.
I guess we just got the set.
Yeah.
Sick. All right. Yeah, guys.
Literally, it's just so good. Yeah. He's like trying to remain composed, man.
Yeah.
And he must have also just been like on the edge of his seat the whole time. Yeah. It just made me laugh a little bit, and I was like, now here you go. You just beat the #1 team in Premier Padel.
I mean, to be fair, that game, and we'll get into it now just a little bit tactically.
Let's
you know, their paddle style. I just think Coello and Tapia didn't have a good game, and Diestro Esbrí had a really good game. That's first off. That's like the main difference.
Yes,
Coello and Tapia were not playing at their level at all,
no.
as we've all seen them multiple times do.
Tapia also mentioned he was not feeling 100%. I don't know if you guys heard, but it seems like there was like a food bug or food poisoning going on.
Yeah.
About 3 pairs dropped out due to like stomach issues.
Yeah.
I think it was Ruiz who had to run off the court and go to the bathroom, and he might have left a present on the court. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Tapia didn't show up necessarily. And gosh, man, these guys fucking took it, right?
I mean, I think Esbri at both of them, but specifically Esbri is a really, really complete all-round great player. I mean,
great finisher as well.
Great finisher. He's very intelligent, plays the shots that he has to play. His level in that quarterfinals against the Golden Boys, his level was out of this world, to be honest. I think the main thing that they did really well was the chiquitas.
Yes.
As we know, that's one of the only ways to...
It's what is it? What's the right word? A strong tactic to go up against.
To get the upper hand against Coello and Tapia, who are massive at the net, massive on the overheads.
Yeah.
Really just incredible players all around, obviously. So they used those chiquitas to open up the court and avoid the smash power and the volley aggressiveness from the number ones.
Just seeing either of them wind up and going for a smash behind the back line, it's gonna make it tricky for them. Wasn't necessarily the fastest. It was
it was on the slower side,
which you kind of saw also when Coello and Tapia were smashing. It wasn't necessarily paying off. So that slower side definitely also was an advantage for Esbri and Diestro, which they took it, man. Which I love seeing as well.
I don't know if what your thoughts are on this, but I think they maybe underestimated Coello and Tapia. They maybe underestimated Diestro and Esbri a little bit.
I mean, how can you not though? It's like okay, they're
you probably go in thinking, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's not even on a talent level, but it's like, are they used to playing on that pressure as well and being able to like stay calm, not fucking lose your minds and sort of start playing super fast. Their ability to keep calm, control the game, and sort of like stand their ground, which they did very much so. Man, it shows like, these guys are way down the table and we don't see them that often. But in the right moment, in the right circumstances, like they can do it, right? Like,
because I think in these instances, right, is the underdogs have nothing to lose and everything to win. Yeah. And the ones who should win, it's the opposite. The pressure is completely on them. Yeah. If Diestro and Esbri lose in quarterfinals against Coello Tapia, that's already a massive tournament for them. Yeah, it's already a huge success.
It's like a win-win.
It's but Coello and Tapia losing to Diestro and Esbri in quarterfinals is, it's
there's a shift in their mind.
Psychologically and emotionally, mentally, it does make you like carry that burden.
What was that final scoreline again? Sorry, can we pull that up really quick?
Yeah, we've got
for Coello Tapia, Esbri,
so it was 6-3. This is from Esbri Diestro's point of view, the winners. 6-3, 2-6, 7-6. So it was a fairly comfortable first set for Esbri Diestro, fairly comfortable set for Coello Tapia, who locked in after that first set down, and then it just it came down to details and specific moments, and they finally got it after the tiebreak. 7-6,
I think because of like the time zone, I messaged you at like 1:30 in the morning, being like, dude, Esbri and Diestro just knocked out Coello and Tapia. And I was just like sitting on my couch, like half asleep, losing my mind. And I was like, am I dreaming right now? Did this just happen? And, they actually went on and did it. And it was just like absolutely incredible for them. So we'll see if they can do it again at some point.
And I think, I think Diestro and Esbri play like textbook paddle.
Right. Okay.
They're not, I mean, Esbri's got a big smash, but it feels like they just... I feel like they played the entire tournament very calm and collected. Yeah. Choosing the right shots. Plethora of shots as well. As I said, both very complete. With their overheads, with good vibora, slow, fast, more poisonous. A good smash from Esbri. Yeah. Good rulos for both of them and ganchos as well, which is pretty good. I think, and Diestro finding the middle quite a few times against Coello Tapia as well, pushing them back. The point. And I think most importantly as well, they showed up and they were like, we're here. Yeah. We're here to compete, and they played with personality and initiative, which I think
so. I think that's great, really. I think a lot like a conversation that happens every now and then is that gap between maybe the top 10 pairings and the rest of like, the 20s to the 30s. Yeah. And I think it's moments like this where, you can't really ever underestimate. I know we were saying it's like a perfect condition for Diestro and Esbri to get there. But at the same time, we're talking about their mental sort of capabilities and how they handle that pressure. So, don't ever underestimate the lower ranked players, right? Because it just takes one tournament for them to really, make a name for themselves. Yeah. So, it was just absolutely insane to watch these guys come back and, take out some of the biggest players on the fucking circuit. Like, so very well done. Yeah, it was awesome,
absolutely.
Man. And that's what we like, honestly. A little wild card every now and
then. Yeah. And to make it like more competitive, as we're tired of seeing the same over and over again.
They definitely like screwed over the not screwed over, but like they made waves, man, basically, and like, affected the outcome for the rest of the tournament, right? Like, gosh, even, not that I'm surprised that Nenno and Tello got to the semis as well, but even, Stupachuk as well, Juan and Stupa also getting knocked out by Carburger as well. Yeah. It's just, it was lots of juice, man, which I think we might talk about now, that game a little bit.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Is it? Can I call it a meltdown? Because obviously Spanish isn't my language. I actually don't speak it at all. But I was gonna say my mother tongue.
I have no fucking clue what they were saying.
Yeah, literally, I'm
Yeah.
just there staring at the screen, relying on pure emotional features, and obviously, if Gonza chimes in and gives us a little bit of a live translation. But yeah, Stupid didn't look happy in the Carburger game, right?
I mean, I don't know what you saw, what you thought happened. For me, I think to be honest, in terms of if we're talking about play style and actual paddle,
yeah,
LeBron was trying to carry the team.
Yeah, he was.
I think Stupa, I don't know what happened, but he was playing horrendously. He was playing horrendously.
Making so many mistakes.
Making so many easy mistakes.
Not less necessarily sticking to the tactics or the conversations that they're going to mid-break as well. I just don't know. Maybe, I'm not a professional athlete, right? I am competitive, but call me a softie, man. But if my fucking teammates like whining like this, man. Yeah. I think, this is how we should separate it, right? Like, in terms of being competitive professionals in a high performance sport, where does the line sort of get drawn with how you can speak to your teammate in terms of hyping them up, in terms of making them aware that I know you're not playing that well right now, but I need to bring you up a little bit, and where the frustration grows, basically.
I think you hit the nail on the head. That's the difference.
Yeah.
I don't think you can ever get, and I heard a coach say this, and I was like, that makes so much sense. Why would you ever get angry at your partner for missing a shot, for making a mistake? Your partner is he already knows he's made that mistake.
You can feel it.
They're already like, they know the mistake they did. So there's no point in getting angry because of that. What I think happened in this time, and I'm not excusing LeBron's behavior, because I don't think it is, but it's what you just said. The line is drawn where you're not saying like, oh, why did you miss that? You shouldn't have missed that. It's like, well, dude, I missed it. Like, I make mistakes. I'm sorry. It's not that. It's when the attitude isn't there.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is what LeBron was telling Stupa. Okay. He was like, dude, like, I need you here. You're not with me. Like, it's fine if we miss, if we whatever, but like, let's stick to our plan and let's show up and play with some personality. Because right now you're like laughing in the breaks.
Yeah.
This is our fucking livelihood, man. Like, we're professional athletes. Like, I think he was coming at it from purely a effort point of view. Like, I know you can give more. Right. I don't care about mistakes. Just from an attitude point of view, you can do more, basically. Yeah,
regardless of the scoreline, you know what I mean? I kind of get what you're saying. It's like, you have maybe the sportsmanship isn't the right word necessarily, but it's your sort of like, your charisma and your personality through wins and losses, right?
Exactly,
that are a reflection. And I get why that builds the frustration up on your teammate's side. Just happens to be the fact that Juan Lebron is his teammate who is a little bit more volatile, I guess, and isn't necessarily afraid to, let his emotions out and let his like thoughts out. It did seem very like aggressive and very like antagonizing in a way. Maybe 100%. That is like, maybe an intense word to describe it. But yeah, dude, you're, when you're playing shit, your teammates complaining about you, your teammates also complaining to your coach about you, and you're kind of sat there sort of like, you got to take it on the chin. I know I'm playing like shit, but fuck, dude. It's also like in a stadium broadcasted around the world. Like,
I think the reasons for the meltdown were valid. I just think the way he handled it was just not. It's just, you should never lose your temper that way.
Exactly.
Because the thing is, that won't help anyone.
Yeah, he's banging his chair.
Exactly.
He's walking off. Like,
you can ask your partner for more, and you can be like, hey, dude, listen, I know this is tough and like whatever, but like, I just need you to push a little bit more. There's ways of saying it without just.
I mean, and we've seen that with other pairings. We've seen it when Tapia isn't, playing at his best. We've seen it when Chingotto isn't playing at his best as well.
I need you now. Yeah. I need you to move your feet just a little bit more.
And it feels like they're in it together situation.
And they're like, yeah, you're right.
Where LeBron's like watching Stupid die a little bit at the back of the court. And he's like, come on, bro, let's fucking pick it up.
Yeah.
I get it. Like, you can literally, obviously through the translations, it's like, don't lob. Seeing Stupa lob, and it's the worst lob I've ever seen in my life. And they get absolutely, a fucking Augsburger, smashes back. Yeah, that's frustrating. But it also goes two ways, man, because, LeBron was also telling Stupa off for, don't lob. You're making too many mistakes. You're putting us in difficult positions. And then immediately after that, Lebron puts it in the net as well, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's like, it's different one for each person and it's different for him. But yeah, it's kind of like you guys aren't robots as well, right? And there has to be room for, some
Margin of
mistakes.
error,
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
right? I know they're the top athletes in Premier Padel, right? But yeah, I did laugh. I had to laugh a little bit when with how pissed off LeBron is. Telling Stupa not to love, and then LeBron fucks a point up as well.
I think that's the difference as well, and that's a bit of the key in this situation is you can say whatever you want about LeBron in terms of his attitude towards rivals, towards his partner.
Yeah.
But LeBron himself, I think he always gives 100%. He might not play perfectly in terms of, but as we were saying just now, in terms of attitude and effort.
Yeah.
And passion and heart, he's usually there.
Yeah,
he's usually at the top. And him seeing his partner not try and do that as well is what made it frustrating.
Yeah.
Again, unexcusable behavior by LeBron. Either way, regardless.
Yeah, that's pretty foul. I'll be honest.
But I mean, I did feel like he was trying to carry the team.
Yeah.
Paddleistically speaking. On his shoulders, dude. Offensively, he was also carrying the team.
He was playing on the right as well.
He was playing on the right. He was smashing better than Stupa.
Yeah.
Stupa's smash was horrendous as well. I don't know if it's the injury that he's like,
he's coming back from an injury
and whatever. But yeah, I mean,
maybe it's also like a thing with Stupa's mentality. Do you think it is this thing where, maybe I'm trying to think of the right word, but if Stupa's not sort of the dominant figure in the team, he kind of loses his concentration, his confidence in himself, right?
If someone steals his thunder, maybe he
steals his thunder is like more of an ego thing, but really it's his his fucking balls,
juice.
Man. Yeah. I don't know how to say it, man, but yeah, he's just like he needs to be the number one or the more dominant pairing in his pairing history as well to feel like he's rock solid. The moment LeBron is actually kind of taking that away from him. Yeah. I think Stupa starts to question himself a little bit and starts
that's actually a very interesting
what I mean?
take.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that. So we'll see how it goes on because I also want to, ask the question on, the longevity. All right, we're back. We had to take a little break there.
Bring us back in.
But yeah, we were in the midst of the heat of, talking about the future of Stupa LeBron. No one really likes to see that sort of energy, I guess. I mean, I kind of liked it from a drama point of view, but really at the end of the day, we were kind of speculating on right now on how useful that is on bringing that energy to the game, right? And seeing if this is a repeating thing.
Useless.
Yeah, exactly, right? I think it's maybe the other word's damaging a little bit, right? That builds up a little bit of, bad energy in a team pairing, which goes down to chemistry, which is very important in the world of paddle. Does Stupa, we don't know Stupa personally. I'm sure Stupa's fine because he's an adult that can manage it. But I don't know about that. Like, this is still an early pairing. They're, they've done so well so far. Don't get me wrong. But goddamn, that it's like if my partner's shouting at me like that, I don't know.
It's bad vibes. And the thing is, I think you end up being the psychotic kid in the playground that no one wants to play with,
Yeah, dude.
Because every time
picking his scabs,
every time someone tries to play with you, you're like throwing rocks at them.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like spitting in their face or something. So the other kids are gonna do their thing and pair up and
and be like, I'm not fucking playing with
and
Juan
you're
anymore.
gonna be left alone on the corner there, because
Juan's throwing sand in our faces right now.
Yeah,
dude. Fuck playing with that.
But
shit,
you know what
dude.
I mean, like, because it's a repeating thing. As you just said, it's like it happened with Galán. It's happened with other people. It's happening with Stupa now. I mean, the Nenno he's a little angel, so that was a bit different.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
It's happened multiple times where he just, I don't know.
We keep prefacing that these guys are like top performing athletes, but really it would also mess with my confidence in myself as well, because I know that moment that shit, I'm at a tournament now and I didn't, I'm not playing at my 100. Juan's gonna get angry at me, dude. He's gonna start shouting at me again.
But that's not healthy, man.
That's what I'm saying,
that's
though. I doubt Stupa really thinks like that. Or maybe there's an inkling of him being like, "Oh gosh, he's gonna go off on one again."
He's gonna lose.
That's probably more realistically than Stupa just like spiraling out of control. But I don't think that's very healthy. And they have their coach. I forgot his coach's name.
Pochoni.
Yeah, exactly. He seems like a hilarious guy. Yeah. But like, he can kind of keep that peace between them and like, air the room out after like.
He was trying to do it with like humor.
Yes.
He was seeing Stupa being like I can't do this. LeBron being like,
Yeah, exactly.
and then him just being like,
I'm here for the
yeah, guys,
comedic relief.
yeah, haha, right?
Yeah. And they're just like,
and it
look.
just didn't work.
Yeah,
it just didn't
so
work.
it's interesting to see that. I mean, those are the moments that I love paddle, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, you got a little bit of drama, you got a
But
little
yeah,
bit of
I
like
don't know.
angst.
Let us know what
Really?
you guys think.
Do you think LeBron has some grounds to stand on to act like that? Do you think Stupa was just completely slacking and kind of deserves to be kicked in the ass a little bit? Or is this just going to, you know, somewhere down the road, split them up and, you know.
I mean, he's clearly, he's sort of doing it to himself. He is consolidating his villain of paddle image. You know, like
he's very good at doing that.
He's very good at that. So I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. Anyway, we have a couple more points on our little highlights list, which he wanted to speak about as well. He came up to me.
Yeah. It's something that I sort of realized. It's nothing like new or transgressive, but I was looking into it and I was like, I don't think it's talked about enough how Chingalan's road to the final is in every tournament, not because of, you know, there's no favoritism. This is purely just because of ranking and points and how the sport works. Exactly. But the draw every time, right? So you've got I guess to make it visually, I don't know if it'll help anyone. But if you've got you've got like the like the pairings here, this top side where Coello and Tapia are usually, it's also Carburger are there.
Coquianguas.
No, Coquianguas on the other
side.
The other. But Carburger there, Paquito Verga, Stupa Lebron as being number threes. That side is a very loaded top side of the draw. And then down there you've got Chingalán. And honestly, to be honest, the toughest opponent they could face before the final is Coquianguas as number 4 pairings. Or right now, as it happened in this tournament, Tello Nenno.
Yeah, okay.
Because Coquianguas got knocked out really early on. But if you look at the games that Chingalán played before getting to
their road to the final.
The final, it basically it only got difficult for them when in semis against Tello Nenno, which, to be fair, I mean, things could have happened, but 9 times out of 10, I think it's a victory for the number 2s.
Yeah, I see.
So, I don't know, it's just something to think about.
I mean, it is something to think about. There's not much you can really do, right?
No.
It's like how the tournament's structured. That's where they are. That's where they're sort of placed. Then they could definitely not like reintroduce another way of doing their draws and everything. There is a reason why it's fair. They split the top on each
and it's just like, and you split, like, it just so happens that the number 1s, obviously, number 3s, number 5s, number 7s are
all on the right side.
Are all a bit stronger than right now, I guess. Well, you've got Chingalán, then you've got Coquianguas, then you've got the number 6 pairing, number 8 pairing, it's just the way it works right now.
That's just the tournament, man. Yeah. I'm just like, oh my gosh. But yeah, I'm sure Chingalán are happy about it because they get to walk through to the finals with less landmines, I guess. But that's how it is. Some tournaments are more fruitful than others. I think you never know. Then we have a tournament like this where Diestro and Esbri just take out 3 of those top performing players, and you're just kind of like, who am I playing with now?
But they're still in that side of the draw for some reason. And then again, I mean, does that just give more credit to Coello Tapia?
Yeah,
having a more difficult road to the final and then winning the final, because then many finals, as we've seen many times, Chingalán get to the final, but then they lose against the number 1. So
there you have it all evens out somewhere down the line. But
what do you guys think about this as well? Do you think it's fair? It's unfair? As Connor said, there's not much we can do about it, but I think it's something interesting to talk about.
Exactly.
And finally, Connor, what should we?
We want to chat a little bit about Tello and Nenno reaching semis again, which is their second time as a new pairing. Unlike Garrido Lubac, who they switched over pairing wise.
They haven't even made it to round of 16 yet.
No. It's looking a little bit more eventful and probably, the better
as predicted.
Yeah, the better half of the change up, right? They're fucking great, aren't they, man? They're doing it very well, I think, and I think they're showing a lot of promise, which, we can only compare them to their older teammates, I guess, a little bit. But they're showing so much promise, I think, right? Like, it's a very, very strong pairing. Nenno's always been so, like, he's that right side, super cool, chilled, defensive animal, right? And, what's his nickname? El Gato, the cat? Yeah, like, he's also incredible. Because last year I didn't watch that much of him because he was, a hiatus, almost like figuring himself out a little bit, figuring out who he wants to play with. And yeah, it seems like they're doing well, minus, Diestro and Esbri kind of taking out some of the bigger players that they went to. How do they come out in the finals? Did they struggle? I think they
Nenno
and
in the semis. They lost against Chingalán.
Yeah, it was like 6-2, 6-3 or something
but
like that.
But they also had a fairly easier road to the final because they were on the side of Chingalán. And then as soon as they met up with Chingalán, they went down 2-6, 3-6. So pretty easy win for Chingalán. As we said, that's like, it's not unusual for that to happen. But, 2 semis.
A semis is a semi.
A semis is a semis. I think it's really, really good results.
Yeah.
We've got Nenno on the right hand, on the forehand, playing like a beast as he does.
Yeah,
and that's what he is.
These are great players.
I think they're just maybe lacking a little bit of oomph for me in terms of like,
which I'm not too surprised that would have been there
in terms of power and intensity.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially on their volleys.
Yeah. Tello does have a pretty good smash as well.
Yeah. But compared to, you're going up against other people, like you look at Esbri, probably has a better smash than Tello does.
So, it is true. Yeah.
Like it really just it really depends. But yeah,
it's nice. Yeah, we just wanted to shout out to them, and hopefully we see them in more semis.
Yeah.
Maybe a final would be pretty crazy.
That'd be sick.
Yeah, it's always nice to see new pairings come together and they work out, And I know that they're besties, low key, right? So
that's the thing. Yeah. The chemistry, I think, is a big thing, and they don't have meltdowns with each other against each
other.
Other.
Wholesome, unlike stupid Lebron.
Exactly, yeah. But just goes to show that sometimes maybe, even if it's higher quality players, the team effort, the team mentality, the idea of fighting together and not against each other can go a long way.
You're already playing against another pairing, right? You don't need the guy next to you also to put a stick up your ass. But, but let's move on to the finals, I think.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. We have a first-time win for this season for Claudia Fernández and Bea González, which was an incredible victory for them, I think, especially taking on their old teammates as well, Gemma Triay and Delphi Brea, right? Obviously, as we mentioned at the beginning of the episode, Gemma picked up rank number 1 even before the tournament ended, which was super impressive. So, maybe Gemma did walk away with not a small victory, a huge victory, right? Yeah. But it was actually incredible to go and watch them play against her old teammates. Claudia Fernández was MVP for me. She did have a dipping moment, but that's just human, right? She's an absolute animal, right? And having Bea on her left side to absolutely clean up the points and finish a lot of points. She's got a crazy smash as well. Yeah, it was just like an absolute spectacle. The downside or the downfall from Gemma and Delphi, probably Delphi, I think, right?
Both, but I would say
a lot of mistakes. You're right. I can't throw Delphi just under the bus.
To be fair, but I think it was more on her side.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think they were just picking on her. There was definitely a moment of the game as well that you could see that they also put her in the fridge completely. Gemma is just such an animal up at the net, right? And if they kept trying to basically push her back, putting these slow dying balls, so she's just kind of scooping them up a little bit. Hopefully that gives them a easy lob to finish a point, right?
Yeah.
And you could see Gemma wasn't, I don't want to use the word struggling, but she was having a hard time, keeping up with that. And, that was one of their tactics. And then they would just kind of switch it up. And there was too many times where Gemma and Delphi both were putting it in the net. A lot of unforced errors.
Especially third set, there was a lot of unforced errors. I mean, they went 4 love up, I think, Bea and Claudia on the third set. It was basically done by then.
I mean, they took the second set, which is great, but I think really it was a huge comeback game for Fernández and González. I think in the first set as well, it was 4-1, and they brought it back 4-4. They went into a tiebreak in the first set, which also at the beginning of the tiebreak, Gemma and Delphi took a bit of a lead, and they got their second comeback for Claudia and Bea, which was also incredible. Just to have that from a mentality point of view to obviously it's cheesy to say don't give up, but really to put those to put that thought into actual play style and actually take them on. It just shows that you can do that. And plus, once they that mental switch up for Delphi and Gemma, when you have that sort of like breathable space, you have the lead a little bit, and it's just gone like that, just because that's the way the scoring system works, right? It can be brutal sometimes when you're winning, and then all of a sudden
it kind of happened the same on the men's final,
exactly,
right? Which we'll get into now, but
and yeah, it was just absolutely brilliant, and I'm happy to see some success go to Claudia and Bea's way, right? Because the last time they got to
their first Premier Padel victory, right?
Honestly, and also I always hear Gonza bring it up as well, but like Claudia's 19 years old, right? She's ranked number 4 in the world. Obviously Bea González is fantastic too, but it's just so sick to see like the next generation of paddle, I can't say the next, but like she's already up there. You know what I mean? Like she is with some of the best players in the circuit at the moment, and she's just such a beast, man. Honestly, she can handle her side like perfectly, man.
I think they played with such heart. Both I think they played with a lot of passion, and you could see that they were both there to just to go for it and to win it. And as you were saying before, how they adjusted tactics.
Yes.
Gemma and Delphi, depending on, it was a long game. So as you said, sometimes Bea was slacking a little bit more, or Claudia.
She was a little quiet, yeah.
But it was crazy because it happened to both of them. But as soon as one of them went down, the other one picked it up and tried to carry the team on their back.
No, it's sick.
So when Bea had bad moments, Claudia stepped up. When Claudia had bad moments, same with Bea. And I think
they're also just a great new pairing as well. When everything works out right. I know they've had an injury dropout at the beginning of the year and sort of like slightly disappointing results over the last few tournaments. But you could see the way when they won that sort of match winning point, like
how excited they were.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. I think Claudia threw her racket or Bea.
It means so much to them.
No, it's incredible, man. I mean, especially going up against not just old teammates, but like
probably the strongest,
most intimidating
in the world
pair.
Right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like they're both great, and they took advantage that maybe they both weren't on their A game. I mean, that really is a huge competitive advantage though. If you start looking at these two as rivals, essentially, like they're just much younger, right? And maybe that energy level, that fitness level does come into play. I can't knock Gemma, Triay, and Delphi Brea. They're incredibly fit, and they're most of the time they're there. And
and Delphi's pretty young as well. She's 23 or something.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like she's been around the block for a long time. But we also have some stats here as well that kind of reflect.
Yeah, we do.
This
we've got 20 smashes for Fernández González versus 21 Triay Brea, so very equal there. We've got 44 winners for Fernández and González, 51 for Triay Brea, which is informative, but not so much as the 47 unforced errors from Fernández González versus 57 from Brea Triay, as we were saying before, especially on the third set.
Yeah.
The number 2 seeds were just making very easy,
it
silly.
It felt like a lot more unforced errors. It's like, I know 10 unforced errors is a lot, right? It changes the shape of the game, but that's really when watching the game, it did feel like they were making way more mistakes.
I think that also one of the main stats to get out of this is the break points.
Yeah, 17 opportunities.
17 opportunities for Fernández González to break serve. They ended up taking 5.
Jesus Christ.
Versus 3 out of 6 for Triay Brea. You have to think about the mental impact that has on someone, as well.
That's insane. I mean, also props to Brea and
for defending all those points.
Yes, 17 possible break points. Like that would stress me out so much. You know what I mean? And they only took 5 of them, but that's they still got that as well. And we were also talking about obviously we know that in women's paddle, smashing is less. It's a more common thing maybe, over the next coming years. But really, the way, if we look at winners right now, 20 smashes to 44 winners, 21.
The winner to smash ratio.
It's kind of crazy, actually. Like, really, because with the men's circuit and everything like that,
and we don't have it here, but we're assuming that even if all the smashes are winners, because even if they smash 20 times, maybe out of those 20 times, actual winners from smashes, they got 15, let's say. Right? Assuming that every single smash they did was a winner, they still have 24 winners left that don't come from smashes, right? That
Crazy.
come from volleys, from burying the ball, from
Yeah.
smart plays, from catching them off guard, which is like, just a different style of paddle that we're used to seeing in the men's.
It is super interesting actually. I mean, they're all four of them are just like clinical finishers though, you know what I mean? And the way that ball dies in the back, the angles that they can play, you know, it's not unfamiliar to us anymore. So
and the roller coaster of paddle, right? I mean, we're kind of seeing it a little bit more this season now with the men's. We'll get into it more now, but like how crazy it is that, you know, we've got all these tournaments so far. We've got Triay and Delphi sort of dominating a little bit, but we've also got the number one pairing now, Sanchez Jose Maria,
right down
and
on their heels.
Yeah, also winning some, but then all of a sudden, boom, Bea and Claudia show up, and they also win. You know, and it's that.
No, it's exciting. That's why I think, you know, obviously we're in Argentina next week, but the Italy major is just going to be so lit. I think it's like building up like the perfect concoction to like such a dramatic sort of condition for like some of these top 4 or 5 teams to compete in on the women's circuit. So that's what we want, really. It's like no one wants like a clear winner really ever, which happens a lot of the time in sports. That's just kind of how it works, right? But yeah,
it's
having
good to
3,
see the ups and downs, right?
Yeah, exactly. Having at least 3 solid pairings that are just like all kind of gunning for it. That's the entertainment levels are there, the excitement's building, and that's all that we could ask for, really. So we kind of just have to, you know, get our popcorn, sit down, enjoy the games,
relax and enjoy,
and see who's there.
Exactly.
And yeah, you know, same could be said for the men's as well, which is also obviously, you know, Coello Tapia have an insane points lead, which might be at slight more jeopardy this year as they revisit their you know, tournaments and everything like that. If they can hold on to their points that they won from last year, that's great. But you know, we have young guns like Carburger now, stupid Lebron. I know we were just talking about how they didn't have the best tournament, but they're
but so far in the season they've
on that
really
right
well.
side of the main draw, it gets really hairy, right? And it is incredible to see. Obviously, let's not forget Chingalán, who are also on fire this finals, right? And I think Chingotto, maybe he didn't hear it, maybe he heard it, but maybe the paddle world was kind of dogging on him a little bit. Yeah. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to shut everyone up.
Yeah.
And he did. And it was very impressive, you know. And we're switching to the men's final now, but what was that final score for the men's? Do we have it here?
Yeah, we've got 7-6, 6-1.
Two set win.
Two set win.
Chingalán took it. I mean, I'm not entirely surprised because they were just on fire from the beginning of the tournament, right? They weren't messing around. Yeah. They kind of took it. But, you know, Carburger is not exactly an easy pairing to go against.
And they got to the final, you know. They took out Stupid Lebron.
Yeah.
And they got to a final. They're you know, we know amazing players. I mean, Augsburger smash.
Yeah, we keep saying it like every episode, but it's genuinely like
it's ridiculous.
It's a spectacle to watch.
Honestly, I think he got like lobs that passed him.
Yeah.
Like 3.
Yeah, right. I see.
Even if the lob is super deep and perfect, if he can get there, unless they catch him completely off guard.
Yeah.
And he's right at the net and they hit him a really fast, precise lob that he just can't get. This dude's like falling back.
Yeah, it's insane,
he's like
actually.
Falling backwards and he's like sort of parallel to the ground nearly with his back like arched like that. And he just like flicks his wrist and he just manages to get the most insane kick smash.
Yeah, it's fucking
with
nuts,
the angle.
Really.
It's ridiculous. It makes no sense.
There's also a few times as well where, you know, even on his return on his overhead, you know, it is a kick smash, but really you can tell the difference sometimes where he doesn't put that much power on it.
Where it's just technique.
It's that moment because of the top spin when it touches that back glass, it rockets up, which is, you know, it's so hard to do that. Yeah. You know, I don't know how to do that. It's insane. In a mid-game experience, right? Just to casually like handle that and be like,
ridiculous.
You know, I'm back at the court here. Yeah. You know, and you know, it's not like Chingalán were unaware of that. We all know it, and that's why they were just lobbing the shit out of Cardona as well. Who, that's probably where they struggled a little bit as a team pairing, right?
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
if we look at what went well for them or what went wrong for them as well, you know, they took the game in 2 sets. Cardona was having a difficult time against the cross court with Chingotto, right?
I think he got absolutely dominated by Chingotto in that cross court. I mean, there's a lot of things to touch on here, and I'm getting quite excited to talk about it. So let's pick them apart and let's structure a little bit.
Let's take a breath, pick them apart. Here we go.
Exactly. So, I mean, just on what we were saying now, cross court, I think that was one of the main points of the game was the cross court between Chingo and Cardona. Chingo was MVP of the match for me by far. I mean, 100%. He was ridiculous. I think the word to describe Chingo for this final for me was precision. Yes. He was just super precise. Yeah. His overheads, viboras were mental. The depth and just like they do look like snakes, like a little.
Yeah.
The way they just go to the corner down there.
Cardona's just sweating, just like it feels like a bright light's coming his way, and it's just Chingotto with these nasty viboras.
He was putting up Cardona against the ropes.
Yeah, man.
Unfortunately, I mean, I'm not saying that it's an easy thing to do, but Cardona's defense it was impossible against Chingo's
it was lackluster
vibora.
A little bit. Would you say that's like a common thing for Cardona?
I think so.
His defense needs a little bit of tweaking, right?
Yeah. The lobs he was his defensive lobs off of Chingo's viboras, where players like turn around, they see it come and they have to spin, and because he's lefty, he has to return it with a backhand, which is a bit harder. They were just short.
Yeah.
Either set it up for Chingo for an easy
or a smash, which he did a few times.
Yeah, super precise with the smash.
That's when you've messed up though. When Chingo's smashing your short loves, it's like
or Galán can get in there and smash it as well,
Exactly.
But I think that takes us to the next point.
Right, which is
talking about defense, not only Cardona, but I think the pairing as a whole, incredible pairing, but I think they have a very clear strategy. Okay?
Smash.
Strangle the opponent.
Yes.
Which is kind of what Coello Tapia do. Difference being Coello Tapia individually and as a pairing have quite a bit more quality and talent than Cardona Augsburger.
Yeah.
Taking nothing away from Cardona Augsburger. Incredible pairing, as we've seen and what they've done this season. But I think, as I said, either smash, because they both have massive smashes, especially Augsburger.
Yeah.
So basically the strategy is don't give any time to your opponents.
Exactly. Just fast.
I
mean, if
they try and lob us, we hit a smash immediately after so that they don't have time to come back.
Yes.
If they're at the net, they're literally nearly touching it. And their volleys are super slicey, fast. They both look at the mesh quite a lot with their volleys so that the bounce with the slice bounces weird and they're unable to, or just trying to bury them deep. That's their style, which works a lot, and I think it's a great strategy. However, when you come up against a pairing like Chingalán with loads of experience, loads of quality, loads of talent, then they can sort of pick that apart.
I think so.
It's sort of like a black or white strategy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, even if we'll take a look at the break points as well, right? But really early on probably in the first set, we also got a little bit of translation as well on Galán saying basically, we've figured out how to break Augsburger's serve. Now let's figure out how to do Cardona's. And it's almost like we witnessed that happen, which is really impressive.
It's like surgical precision kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. These guys are like, assassins, man. They're just picking them apart. Really, the advantage of breaking them is just so much, right?
Yeah.
And if do we have the stats up here? We can.
We do.
We won't dive into them just yet. Maybe we have a couple more points. I do want to see the break points.
There we go. We've got
2. Okay, which isn't insane, but look,
2 out of 4 and 3 out of 8.
Yeah, 8 opportunities, and they took 3 of them, which is that's all you really need.
But it's that one extra. Break point sometimes.
And take it in 2 sets, right? Yeah. Just to quickly pivot back to what you were saying as well. The conditions that also support Cardona and Augsburger is the court as well, right? And if they're on that fast court, sure, it's game over. Which if
they're in Santiago, then
gets a little bit tiring after a while when it's just like pop, 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 pop. Yeah. I like that, but it's they have to use their brains a little bit more paddleistically when they're on a slower court, man. And this is where their struggle is, because when you say the way they want to smother people, they want to take control like that, it just doesn't work. And, that's where they get in trouble, right? Later down the road.
As you were just saying, Connor, this, the fact of Asuncion being on the slower side of things, even though I don't think specifically for Augsburger that makes a difference. Augsburger can just do whatever he wants to do.
Yep.
But exactly, you do have to think more strategically and tactically, which I think is the main takeaway of this final for me, which is what I wrote down here, is that I think tactics and strategy won over power and aggressiveness this one,
I mean, that's also their tactical maturity that Chingalán have, right?
Yeah.
We can speculate them as a pairing if they haven't performed the best over the last, 7 or 8 tournaments now. But, they're absolute mind freaks, really, when it comes to it. And, when they do see a newer, sort of less experienced pairing, they're a bit relentless, actually. It's kind of really impressive to see them pick them apart.
They don't
like
take
that.
any prisoners. And I don't feel like they get confident or they underestimate anyone,
dude. They know what they need to do. They see the weakness and they attack it, which is just like incredibly impressive. You know what I mean? On our list here, do we have any other?
There's a couple more things.
Let's go through it
before we get into stats. I think one thing that I really like seeing, I don't know what you think, but we saw Chingo blocking a lot
at the net,
which is not. It's something that we see Galán do more, but Chingo really just was picking apart Cardona. And it was, as you were saying before, that lob on Cardona's right shoulder, him being a lefty, that really
puts him in an awkward position.
Doesn't allow him to smash and get his power out fully. Those precise deep lobs on his right shoulder, which forces him to play a softer shot. He doesn't have the best overheads if it's not a smash, Cardona or Augsburger for that matter. So, which puts them in an awkward position. He has to sort of give that like weak bandeja back. Which then
offensive.
Chingo can attack, or he can block. Or if Cardona is really arching back and going for that rulo or that semi smash to hit both walls, side and back, then it not being an actual smash from Cardona, Chingo can go up to block on those instances. And he did with his backhand volley, which was super successful. So that was cool to see. And I think last but not least, I think we just need to mention the absolute mental loss from Carburger on the second set.
It kind of shows their, much younger players, right? This is when their inexperience does kind of shine a little
what
bit.
happened?
It was after the tiebreak.
Yeah, it was after first set, and it just
they flatlined, man. They lost it. That's where they lost the game.
To me, it felt like they didn't want to be there. It felt like they were just like netting all these easy shots. They were like their rackets were down.
I mean, that's their.
They went from nearly getting a set on Chingalán in a final 7-6. I think it was 7-6, 7-5 in points, super close.
Yeah.
To then having that.
They looked fed up with each other a little bit. They kind of gave up on the game, which, I don't know. It's a tiebreak. You're both there really fighting for it.
Dude, you nearly got the first set. I obviously, we're saying this sitting in our chairs and like talking about it. Obviously, I know it's...
Just watched like 9 hours.
I know it's very different to actually be there playing, but I don't know. I guess from an outside point of view, I just thought it's a shame. It's a shame because I get that it's super frustrating.
Yeah.
But I know you need to find a way to, and I think it's those top players that are used to being in these situations.
Exactly.
Galáns, Lebrón, Stupas, all these guys that are able to
keep going,
kick it up a notch, even when they're down a set. They're like, well, let's go for the second.
I mean,
one,
it must be pretty demoralizing, that feeling going up against like a top pairing like that, and them just like picking you apart.
Yeah,
kind of
but
seeing
I mean,
your
it's
weaknesses.
a 7-6.
Yeah,
you lost by literally 2 points the first set. It was so close, and then you get absolutely dominated 1-6 in the second set. That probably lasted like 15 minutes.
I don't know. I don't know if it's a thing with time, more experience, and more opportunities like that. They'll get sort of like thicker skin, and they. Even if they have a moment where they really switch it around for themselves, that they can sort of bite into in moments like this. But they just look defeated, man. And then obviously they went into the second set, which they lost 6-1. And it was like, we could already tell the game was over almost, right? It was just super fast.
Yeah.
Disappointing sort of way to finish a finals, right?
I don't know if that's lack
wasn't
of
like
experience.
The most high quality paddle, a paddle final. Which, it's totally fine. But yeah, it was just a little bit lackluster from them. And that's where they gave up. And, they made it to a finals, which is incredible for them. They're a very new pairing. They're very young. But yeah, it's a moment like these that put a chip on their shoulder a little bit. And you kind of have to grow and learn from it. Be proud that you made it to a finals. But you also gassed out halfway through the game, which led it to a two-set victory for Chingalán, right? Not an easy pairing to beat.
I don't know if you noticed, but I saw a bit of beef between Carburger throughout
some bad looks at each other.
Well, some bad looks, some size, some raising of hands when someone maybe got in the way of the other one. Lack of communication, maybe. Especially from Augsburger towards Cardona.
Yeah. Is that, I feel like I can say it, but like I think Augsburger is like the number one in that pairing, right?
I think he is the stronger.
Yeah, he is the stronger pairing, right?
He is the stronger one.
I wonder if he's aware of that as well. I think really, I don't know who would call him up, but like he's a very juicy player to like call up basically if they want that sort of like left side powerhouse.
I feel like he's a new breed.
Yeah, he's insane, man. People are scared. People are preying on his shoulder injury that after how he smashes, it's gonna just like snap off one day. And
genuinely, now that this is gonna sound crazy, correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Maybe you or even you, Connor, you share this with me. I don't think I've ever seen Augsburger hit bandeja or a vibora. Like genuinely, I don't think I've ever have.
No, I don't think.
I think every lob he gets, he smashes it, or he just lets it go so he can play off the glass. Yeah, genuinely.
I've never seen him do sort of a softer hit or a more sort of defensive hit than an offensive one, and that's just because he knows, he can pretty much hit a ball from anywhere in the court, right? So why would you?
From fucking stands.
Exactly. It's just incredible. So he knows that, and hopefully his right shoulder blade stays intact because I don't know how he doesn't feel the aftermath after doing about 15 smashes like that in the game and still being like, no, I'm all good, let's go. I don't know how he does it. It's very impressive, and I think we've all quickly learned that he's probably got one of the best smashes.
I think right now he's probably the best smasher in the circuit.
It's very, very sick actually. So I'm all down for that, to be honest. But those guys in a fast court, and maybe it would have been a different circumstance, but Chingalán took it with ease, man, and that's what we want to see as well. We want to see a bit of domination from them, so that's all good. But
let's look at the stats.
Yes, let's do it.
So we've got, as we said, break points. We've got 2 out of 4 for Cardona Augsburger,
right?
3 out of 8 for Chingalán. Nothing major there. We've got 27 smashes from Cardona Augsburger and 33 smashes from Chingalán.
Right.
And now we'll see with the winners, which I think is the interesting, informative stat here. 31 winners for Cardona Augsburger versus 46 by Chingalán.
Yes.
What does this mean? What do I interpret from this? You've got 27 smashes and 31 winners.
Yeah.
All of, or nearly every single smash from Cardona Augsburger is a winner.
Yeah.
So, let's say they got 23 smash winners. There's only a few more winners that they got from volleys or whatever else.
Yeah.
But then the big, which consolidates what we were saying before about that's their style. It's just smash, choke out their opponents. And then we've got 33 smashes and 46 winners from Chingalán, meaning that many, even if they did all their smashes were winners, you still got 16 winners that came from
playing low,
viboras from Chingo that were literally impossible to dig up for Cardona. So, it just shows how much more of a maybe complete
they don't rely on one
play style they had, and then 29 unforced errors versus 24. Not massive difference, just a bit more for Cardona Augsburger. But there we have it, the breakdown of the men's semis.
I mean, an insane
I really enjoyed
P2.
that.
It's a great P2. I think a lot of uneventful things that happened, right, that we couldn't expect, and we love that on an entertainment level. I think the build up now over the next 2 tournaments is just going to be super exciting. The chase for the next queen of the women's circuit is just going to be incredible. A lot of pressure on Gemma, a lot of pressure, probably a little bit more on Ari Sanchez and Paula to kind of take that back a little bit, and hopefully Dema Delphi can also, make some waves a little bit like that. But, gosh, now I'm just name dropping all of the top fours because Claudia Fernandez and Bea González, feel like they're in great form
in the race
at the moment.
as well. So, yeah.
There's a lot to look forward to, really. But, we'll see how it settles down in Argentina. And it's going to be great.
Yeah.
That's perfect. But we're at the end of our episode now.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for tuning in, guys.
Yeah.
Hit that subscribe button. Come back next week.
Everything. Yeah, come back next week for the Mar de Plata P1.
It's going to be nuts. We're going to lose so much sleep, but that's why we're here.
That's fine. We're on
that UK
we love
time
paddle.
zone. And thank you very much for watching, guys.
Thanks for tuning in. See you on the next one. Peace.